Cars are bigger, roads are wider, and personal space isn't just a concept, it might as well be a constitutional right. Am I right?
You know what? God bless America. Never change, my friends, because this is one of the things that makes you guys unique. Everything is bigger in America. Thank God for that, because you know what? Having land, having a bigger car, having a bigger house, I mean, if you can afford it, my friend, do it. And I love that. And now is the perfect time to ask you for one thing. Can I have a like for America? The secret rules of being an American. My friends, I'm so excited for this one. And I really wonder what those are. But before I go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much. Is the best way to show support. Now, if you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Link for the original video in my description, and let's play it.
Yeah, but you're not even in my league, mate. America, the land of the free, home of the brave, and for reasons that I've still not figured out, ranch dressing on everything. I moved here 16 years ago, and while I've since discovered that a flannel is called a washcloth, nobody prepared me for the secret rules of being an American. And I'm not talking about stuff that I saw on the citizenship test. No, these are the bizarre, unwritten social codes that govern everyday life. Like the fact that, what's up?
So things that most Americans know, are aware, and that's basically what defines American life. Oh man. Say secret rules, I guess they will not be secret anymore. But I really wonder what Lawrence will talk about on this one.
These are the bizarre, unwritten social codes that govern everyday life. Like the fact that what's up isn't an actual question, but a stand-in for hello. I had to learn that the hard way after responding with not too good after last night's White Castle. Meanwhile, one of my own not-so-secret rules is if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, do that now.
My friends, do it for me.
In the meantime, here are the secret rules of being an American that nobody talks about, except me and occasionally Reddit.
The power of the front porch wave. To be fair, America has such amazing, beautiful porches in their homes that I would also be saying hello.
In recent times, I've become aware of a particular American, or perhaps even midwestern phenomenon, the front porch wave. This one appears to be most common in the suburbs. On several occasions since I moved into this house, I've been walking through my neighborhood, you know, minding my own business, when suddenly a stranger who's sitting on their porch will raise their hand and wave at me. My British instincts.
Oh man, that's almost a stereotype. A stranger with an American apple pie. Hello. Okay, that's probably in cartoons, right?
Kicked in, and I immediately thought, do I know this person? Did I miss a social engagement? Do they have posters of me on their wall? Of course, it turns out I didn't know them. In America, you wave at people that you don't know. It's just a sign of neighborliness. Stop generalizing Americans, Lawrence, because only a total weirdo would wave at a stranger. And I've just realized I'm pointing at a stranger. But the first few times...
To be fair, I know he's making a joke there, but I feel like Americans are really friendly. Probably it will be different from state to state, so there is a point there. But overall, Americans are very friendly.
As it happened, I panicked and waved back with all the confidence of a hammer covered in milk. The front porch wave is part of a broader tradition of American suburban politeness. And sometimes it's even more horrifying than that.
Pedestrians saying hello. So probably similar to the last one, is just Americans being friendly.
I was just strolling down an order.
You know what? For me, what's more weird is not pedestrians saying hello. Is why there is grass right there and also right there. And you walk on the middle. This is something that you never see here in Europe.
American sidewalk when it happened. A stranger, someone I had never met, had no prior connection to, and honestly had no logical reason to interact with, looked me in the eye and said, hello. I panicked. Where I come from, this interaction only ever involves a confused tourist or maybe an over-enthusiastic charity worker. You don't expect it from somebody who lives around the corner. But in America...
Honestly, I feel like maybe I have the American spirit, because I say hello to everyone I see on the streets, but no, not everyone. That sounded really bad. But to all my neighbors, sometimes they don't even reply back. Shame on them, to be fair. But I pick the trash, for example, I go for a walk, I say hello to most people. I think that's, sometimes that person could be having a bad day. Maybe I'm weird, but it is what it is.
The gregarious pedestrian is wide rife. On a separate occasion, another passerby nodded and confidently uttered the phrase, "How's it going?" I was mortified. At first, I thought I'd stumbled into a small town where everybody knew each other, but it wasn't that, because this was a thriving cityscape known as Indianapolis. Americans, these remarkably sociable people, seem to have perfected the art of the passing greeting.
Damn it, I've lived here my whole life, and I have never greeted somebody while walking. I also don't walk.
Whether it's a simple nod, a hey there, or the slightly more advanced how you doing, which again requires no
How you doing? Anyone that saw Friends knows that Joey loved that. But talking about how you doing, my friends, honestly, maybe I will have problems in America, because if I go in the street and someone says, "How you doing?" I'm going to say, "Fine, and you, my friend?" Is that really that weird? I mean, it's just some type of small talk, if that makes sense.
no meaningful response. My therapist told me that
Wait, no meaning. See, they don't want response. That's weird.
advanced how you doing, which again requires no meaningful response. My therapist told me that the best way to overcome your fears is to face them. So I've reluctantly started doing it myself. About once a week while walking the dog, I issue my own hello to passers-by, unless it happens to be Suburban Sue, in which case I pretend I haven't seen her. Of course, my newfound politeness has led to some confusion when I visit home and accidentally greet strangers, who then assume that I am a confused tourist, and I suppose in a weird way, I am.
Small talk.
Small talk in Britain usually consists of two people agreeing that those clouds over there don't look too good, do they? If you took away weather...
Okay, talking about the weather, I think is very common everywhere, and sometimes it's a good way to start a conversation. Here, another very common way to start a conversation, I assume probably more between men, is talking about soccer. Football, I mean. Okay, soccer. Talking about sports overall, but specific soccer. I assume in America it's probably more or less the same, right?
From the national discourse, British people would recoil in horror at the mere thought that small talk is even happening. But in America, small talk is like the 5th most popular sport, just ahead of soccer. Some Americans will talk to
Ahead of soccer? Oh no, don't say that. My friends, I feel like soccer will become the #1 sport in America eventually. Are you guys laughing right now? Okay, wait 20 years or 200.
Small talk is like the 5th most popular sport, just ahead of soccer. Some Americans will talk to anyone, anywhere, about anything.
Except for the millions who do not, because talking is overwhelming and people are dumb.
Standing
I don't like that guy.
in line at the grocery store, expect a full conversation about your purchases, your weekend plans, and occasionally whether or not you're that guy from YouTube. At first, I didn't know enough small talk to keep up, which forced me to Google, what does "de bears" mean? The trick, though, is mastering the right topics. Food? Safe. Sport? Absolutely. But never, and I mean never, bring up politics. Unless that person has a bumper sticker that you happen to agree with, then it's fine. No, I don't want to make it...
Okay, to be fair, let's throw this part back. But red and blue, my friends, you guys know what is this. But being a bit more serious, it is kind of the same. I mean, nowadays I think the world is a bit more split than ever, so politics are also becoming more problematic to talk here. Back in the day, I felt it was a bit different. I know in America, probably this always have been, I would not say a problem, because saying a problem, something that you guys deal every day, it's weird. But I also believe it's kind of difficult to not bring politics sometimes, because as a human, we like to confront people with our own values, own ideas. And if you don't think this is true, you are crazy. So it's kind of normal sometimes to, even if you try to not bring politics, you end up bringing politics, sometimes not in a direct way, but in a topic that brings into that. At least I know a lot of people that, myself also do this, that fell into this trap. But of course, politics is a topic that can put you in a lot of problems, if that makes sense. Even though I don't think it should be that way, but it is.
Bring up politics. Unless that person has a bumper sticker that you happen to agree with, then it's fine. No, I don't want to make it sound like Americans aren't capable of...
And I would say one thing. Politics, at the end of the day, if you are really into that, could be very interesting. Could be a very interesting conversation if you find other person. Does not mean that the other person will agree with you, but at least you guys are both open-minded to share ideas. When you are closed-minded, I think that's when things get a bit more problematic. But it's a really interesting topic. It's a shame that we all avoid that.
deep conversation. I mean, I've been the subject of many. It's just they've also turned surface level chatter into an art form. And it's only once you've mastered it yourself that you can bring up the important stuff like, hello, where can I get edibles for a friend that's into that sort of thing? Are you still on the phone? Did you hear that just now? Right, I'm trying to make a video, so can you hang up? We'll get mommy and daddy to hang up then. But over time, I've come to appreciate American small talk for what it is. It's basically about building a brief human connection, or destroying one if they don't get British sarcasm.
Personal space. Oh boy, this is a big one. See, this is actually a culture shock. The other ones, I would say, I'm kind of more or less aware, and I think they are the same everywhere. No, not everywhere, but at least in most countries here. But personal space, Americans really care about this.
If there's one thing that Americans guard more fiercely than their freedom, it's their personal space. In Britain, we're
To be fair, personal space means freedom also.
used to cozy queues and cramped public transport, but in America, there seems to be an invisible bubble around everyone. If you stand too close to somebody at the grocery store, they'll give you a look usually reserved for pickpockets or my wife's cousin Chad. This obsession with space extends to every aspect of life. Cars are bigger, roads are wider, and personal space isn't just a concept, it might as well be a constitutional right. Am I right?
You obviously
Honestly, I love that about America. I'm gonna even run this back because I really like this. This topic is very important to me. Sorry for go back so much, but I really want to understand the point here because I also like personal space.
If there's one thing that Americans guard more fiercely than their freedom, it's their personal space. In Britain, we're used to cozy queues
Because
and
that's
cramped
freedom.
public transport, but in America, there seems to be an invisible bubble around everyone. If you stand too close to somebody at the grocery store, they'll give you a look usually reserved for pickpockets or my wife's cousin Chad. This obsession with space extends to every aspect of life. Cars are bigger, roads are wider, and personal space isn't just a concept, it might as well be a constitutional right. Am I right?
You know what? God bless America. Never change, my friends, because this, not just this, but this is one of the things that makes you guys unique. Everything is bigger in America. Thank God for that, because you know what? Having land, having a bigger car, having a bigger house, I mean, if you can afford it, my friend, do it. And I love that. And now is the perfect time to ask you for one thing. Can I have a like for America? If you like this idea of America having personal space and everything being bigger, because I love it.
You obviously didn't go to school here.
Back when I was a stage actor, I thought it would be perfectly fine to hug everybody after the show, which is the only time that hugging is acceptable in Britain. But the American actors just weren't into it, and honestly, neither was I, so absolutely no one won. If you stand too close while chatting, the other person will slowly retreat, especially if you've run out of Old Spice. And if you think this is somehow a criticism, think again. Because I also like my space. I mean, why do you think I keep you all 6 feet away from the camera?
Those pearly whites. Okay, this one I have no idea.
Aha! Yes, the infamous American smile. A beacon of warmth, friendliness, and dental insurance. Now, I'll admit, I don't encounter beaming grins ever since I moved to Chicago, but in Indiana, people would flash them pearly whites all the time. They don't...
You guys want to know why Europeans, British also, well, they are also Europeans, but you guys, there is a bit of a difference. Sometimes don't have the best teeth because here healthcare is free, but dental care, I don't think, for example, I think in France it's a bit different, but most countries, they don't put dental care inside of the free package, if that makes sense.
Speak like that.
I mean, all teeth look immaculate to a British person.
And such smiles might be accompanied by a greeting such as, oh my god, are you British? Or, hello, welcome to Applebee's. Actually, when it comes to this particular stereotype of Americans, restaurant servers do a lot of the heavy lifting. Americans that I've known who've worked as waitstaff often tell me that they have to force this smile when, for instance, a customer thinks they're being original by saying, my beer glass has a hole in the bottom. Hilarious. But it did stand out to me when I first moved here because in Britain, not only do waitstaff not usually smile, but you don't normally see them for about an hour, ironically to give you personal space. And British people in general aren't as likely to smile at strangers. Actually, given our dental makeup, that's probably how we keep crime down. A smile in America says, I'm friendly, I'm approachable, and I'm in no way here to sell you double glazing.
I honestly think people, I'm not criticizing Lawrence here because I understand that there is a lot of irony in this video, but I think people overthink this type of stuff. I think Americans smile a lot, wave a lot, say hello a lot. Because they are genuine good people. Most, probably not everyone, but most people. I mean, that's why. And I think American does a lot of things right, also a lot of things wrong. But we can learn a lot from America as Europeans, because smiling never hurt anyone.
Actually, it can mean that.
Midwestern
And finally,
goodbyes.
the midwestern goodbye, a phenomenon that's so drawn out it makes Return of the King look like a short. My father-in-law had it down to a science. First of all, there's the initial goodbye. This is where somebody claps their hands together and says,
Well, we better get going.
and this is a lie. The only thing that gets going is more conversation. Because next, we enter the standing in the kitchen phase. This is where everybody pretends to be leaving, but instead forms a conversation huddle by the fridge. Then comes the porch descent. And there's no waving here. This is where you all finally migrate to the door, but not before bonding over, I don't know, grandma's recent bowel issues. And just when you think you're free, it's time for the driveway chat while standing next to your car, hoping they don't notice your bumper stickers. And finally, the reverse.
Wait, but this is a thing just on the Midwest. To be fair, the Midwest seems an amazing region in America. I would love to visit the Midwest, but I don't know what state or city. I think Chicago, if I want to see big city, is probably the best place. But the state, I'm not sure if Illinois is the best or not. Maybe Indiana. I don't know.
Goodbye. This is when you pull out of the driveway with your windows down, exchanging emotional words like you're in a Hallmark movie.
Call me when you get there. Tell your mom I said hi.
Okay.
Steve, drive safe.
And just like that, it's 2 a.m.
Okay, this one actually is accurate.
Now, partly
Finally
almost
won
didn't
it.
include the Midwestern goodbye on this list. After all, the theme of this video is secret rules of being an American, not Midwestern. And then it occurred to me that while this is a Midwestern stereotype, it's probably something that people experience in other parts of the country too. Let me
Of
know if
course.
your family does this, and until the next video, goodbye. Actually, no, that's not it. If you have not yet seen my video about American inventions that changed Britain
I
forever,
already saw
part 2 is coming very soon. So watch part 1 now. Until the next video, goodbye.
Okay, my friends, the reaction for this is already on my channel. That said, this one was quite amazing. A lot of those things made me like America even more, if that makes sense. But yeah, tell me your perspective. At the end of the day, most of my viewers are, I believe it's like 99% of Americans, 98% Americans, 1% Canadian, and 1% other countries. But let's be real, most Americans, I still love my 1% Canadians. So you guys can tell if this is true or not. That said, thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye, my friends.